What's this? Looks like Disney's Cheers after the live-action Little Mermaid movie.
Mickey and his friends arrive on an island for a picnic, but soon discover the invitation they had received wasn't from anyone in the group. Instead, it was sent by Toku, a small and weak islander who deceived the group in order to ask for their aid, because apparently lying out the gate is a great first impression. Nevertheless, Mickey and the gang, except Donald, are more than happy to help if it'll mean they get to be true, real-life heroes. And all they gotta do is retrieve 3 magical books from some lowly thieves. Surely everything will work out as expected, right? Disney Illusion Island has an impressive legacy to live up to. The Mickey Mouse Illusion games are famously remembered for being great little platformers on the Sega Genesis and Game Gear. Castle of Illusion, World of Illusion, Land of Illusion, Legend of Illusion. I don't know what it is about Mickey Mouse having illusion in his game titles, but the two have become synonymous in gaming. Honestly, Mickey Mouse's foray into video games has always led to great games. I loved Mickey's Mousecapade on the NES, and I was pretty hyped when Epic Mickey was originally released on the Wii. So when Illusion Island was announced, I was more than a little interested. But when it was revealed to be a Metroidvania, well, let's just say my interest was piqued. Now that I have my greasy little hands on it and have played it in its entirety, do I think Illusion Island lives up to its prestigious gaming heritage and namesake? It's complicated. I guess, first and foremost, I want to make it clear that I'm not analyzing Disney Illusion Island as a video game. I'm analyzing it as a Metroidvania. I think there's no doubt in anyone's mind that Illusion Island is a competent and high-quality video game. But as far as it being a Metroidvania, well, it certainly ticks off the boxes, so I can definitively confirm that it is, in fact, a Metroidvania. Just not a very good one. Let's get into it. First up is combat. And we're done. There's 0 combat in Illusion Island. Plenty of antagonistic forces will block your way, but your only strategy is to jump, swing, or glide over them. This game's intended for small children, so violence is out the window. There's nothing inherently wrong with that, but it's worth noting just in case you thought you were gonna go all goofy in the courtroom on some jabronis.
Oh, do it again.
Okay, Goofy, do you want to go to jail?
No.
There are bosses in the game, I think like 4, and defeating them involves you doing something in the environment until something drops on their head. Do it enough times and boom, a winner is you. It's not very challenging, nor is it particularly entertaining. If you do want a challenge, you can adjust how many hearts you start with in the character select screen. The default is 3, and you can lower it to 1, or you can make yourself completely invincible, perfect for the little gamer in your household. Illusion Island is a multiplayer experience, similar to Rayman Legends or some of the Mario games. While in multiplayer, additional actions are added to your repertoire to help your platforming comrades, like a hug for healing and a rope to help others with climbing. But despite these helpful moves, I mostly played by myself. I tried playing with my 2 teenage daughters, but they got bored and dropped out pretty early. In the game's defense, my girls aren't gamers, and they're older than the target demographic, but that doesn't make the sting of abandonment hurt any less. So I was forced to hoof it alone. I guess I could have called up some friends, but we're all in our late 30s with careers and families. With what little free time they have, do you really think they're going to drop everything to come play the new Mickey Mouse game? I have to say, this game feels like it was designed for multiple players. The camera's zoomed out to a ludicrous degree to accommodate for the 4-player mayhem, even if you're forever alone. I found this game difficult to play handheld because the camera was so far away, and every level was designed to be bigger than your normal platformer to accommodate for the extra players. Traversal gets cumbersome after a while. During a few sessions, my thumb would get tired from pressing left or right on the D-pad for so long. Speaking of traversal, Mickey and his crew have some movement options to help with their journey. The abilities you unlock to open up the map are your standard Metroidvania fare: double jump, wall jump, ground pound, swing, and swim. The more unique abilities include gliding that can be used to float on upward drafts and grinding on specific platforms like your Tony Hawk or Sonic the Hedgehog. They're fun little additions, but nothing mind-blowing. The double jump is weird. It has no verticality. It allows you to jump further instead of higher. It took some getting used to. To get abilities, you have to find this character named Mazzy throughout the map, and he gives each character their own unique tool to do their move. For example, to swing, Mickey gets a yo-yo while Goofy gets a link of sausage. The utility of each is exactly the same, but it's charming nonetheless. Progression in Illusion Island is just as bare bones as its combat. You can't customize your character. There's no leveling up, no skill points, no gear. The only thing you can increase is your character's amount of hearts so they can take an extra hit. And even that's done differently. In most Metroidvanias, you collect something to increase your HP, mask fragments, energy tanks, etc. In Illusion Island, you collect fireballs called glimps. Think of them like coins in Mario. They're just kind of spread out all over the place. After you collect so many, you can unlock a tile in the pause menu. Unlock 6 tiles, and you get an additional heart. It's fine. Each unlocked tile also gives you a bunch of lore you can read if you're really interested in the island's backstory. I read 0 of it because, come on, it's a Mickey Mouse game. How hard can it be to follow? And I'm sure anything I missed, I'll be able to pick up in the Illusion Island miniseries VaatiVidya's undoubtedly working on as we speak. Exploration's big in this game, and I'm not just referring to the enormous levels. There are 3 biomes to explore with multiple sections, and they're all huge, but unfortunately feel pretty samey, save the astronomy biome. I liked its level design and thought the constellation gimmick was clever. There's plenty of secrets to find throughout, though there's an extremely obvious tell for false walls. Again, think of the game's key demo. They want children to find this stuff. And hot dog if there isn't a lot to find here. Conservatively, I'd estimate there are approximately 9 billion things to find. Glimps, collectibles, Mickey Mouse symbols to take pictures of, cards, and none of them are rewarding. Sure, the glimps. God, I am done with that word. I'm just gonna say fireballs. Sure, the fireballs give tangible rewards with increased hearts, but everything else is just collecting crap for collecting's sake. If your OCD is burning that badly, or if you just gotta unlock all the in-game achievements, then by all means, collect as much of the game's garbage as your heart desires. Me, I swerved all that lame crap. Like my great-grandpappy used to say, if it ain't getting me a true ending, increasing my stats, or giving me sweet gear, then screw it. Do you really care about collecting trinkets from old Mickey Mouse cartoons? Or cards with denizens of the island on them? I didn't think so. But if you do want to collect all that useless junk, I'd recommend waiting until you return all 3 tomes before doing any backtracking. Because the levels are so huge, backtracking is the worst. But after you return the tomes, you unlock fast travel, which lets you travel between the game's mailbox checkpoints, of which there are a million, making fast travel super handy. Just make sure you use the tomes on all the bookcases throughout the map before returning them. Just a heads up. The game's lighthearted atmosphere worked well for the most part. As expected, the animated cutscenes and overall animations were outstanding, and there were times the dialogue actually made me laugh out loud. But man, did I hate the character designs. I know the latest Mickey Mouse shorts have them looking like this.
Hey, what do you know? It worked! We're back!
So the game is adhering to its source material. But God, these things look ugly. Normally, I'd say the appreciation or lack thereof for any art style is subjective, but these sickly monstrosities are objectively unpleasant to look at. And all the enemies were pretty basic as well. At least, I think they were. The camera was so far away, I really couldn't see them that well. Plus, there were only like 15 enemy types in the game. They all got really old, really fast. The game's music didn't really do it for me. It was there, but that's the best I can say for it. It did its job, but it didn't evoke much of anything out of me. It mostly just sounded like typical Disney background whimsy. Serviceable and forgettable. And not a single musical number throughout. For shame, Disney. Story-wise, there's not much to talk about. My summary at the beginning of this vid pretty much summed it up. There's a predictable twist near the end, but what do you expect considering the game's target audience? I'm not about to criticize a children's game for being too simplistic and formulaic. For what's on offer, the story's fine, and the writing and the visual gags were goofy enough to garner a few chuckles. I'd have liked to have seen multiple endings, but alas, there's only one. Though I think Illusion Island is a high-quality game overall, there are some things that make the experience better, like a mini-map. The camera's so pulled back from the action, there's plenty real estate for one in a corner. Having to pause every time you wanted to view the map was obnoxious, more so when you're playing multiplayer. It is a good map. It's very detailed and shows exactly where everything you want to collect is located, sans the Mickey markers. And a better balance between kid-friendly platformer and Metroidvania would have done wonders. I'm not saying I have the answers on how to strike that balance, but there are other games that have nailed it, such as Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, so I know it can be done. And honestly, I don't think a Metroidvania is a good genre for multiplayer. Rayman Legends and Mario work because they embrace the chaos, while Illusion Island negates it. And the former games give players their entire moveset up front, making for some interesting level design and fast-paced action. Metroidvanias are meant to be slower burns, not ideal for party games. But if you're playing this with small children, then perhaps it's a better balanced and more delightful experience than playing it with two angsty and flighty teens. My last critique is kind of a big ask, but I think this game would have been next level had it really leaned into parodying the Metroidvania genre. I feel like it was trying to do that. For example, they literally call the levels biomes and the bosses biome leaders, which I thought was kind of funny. Another example, there's a bunch of ominous and creepy eyeballs in an early biome. Creepy biologics in the environment is a common trope in MVs for late game biomes, so I thought doing it out the gate was kind of funny too. Another example, they named one of the final areas the Abyss, an excellent throwback to Hollow Knight, Ender Lilies, and other Soulsvanias. Had the game went full-blown parody the entire time and really skewered the genre, it would have been far more entertaining for the adults forced to play the game with their tiny spawn. Wasted potential if you ask me. In the end, I enjoyed my time with Illusion Island, but I'll never go back to it ever again. There's not a big incentive to. Maybe if the platforming were more fast-paced or if there was combat. Now, your mileage may vary depending on how much of a Disney nut you are. There's so much nostalgic crap to collect that's utterly useless to a casual fan such as myself. Unless you have little ones in your house, I'd say pass on this. Metroidvania vets will be bored to death, and it might taint the genre for newcomers, making them think all Metroidvanias are this monotonous and easy. But if you're like me and just have to play every MV ever, then wait till it goes on sale. Which could be sooner rather than later, considering Disney's done nothing but lose money with everything they've done lately and are selling their assets like it's a corporate yard sale. So yeah, give it a week or two and get the game for like $5 after Disney marks it down from desperation. Heck, with the Haunted Mansion reboot projected to flop, you might be able to squeeze Disney hard enough to get it for $2.50.